Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start you off on section 9.2, and we're going to actually have this split up into 2 days. So today, we're going to cover that whole note sheet that's in front of you, but you'll see some of this appearing tomorrow in the notes and in the video, on the worksheet tomorrow. So we are going to find lateral areas and surface area of prisms. Prisms, let's talk about what the definition of a prism is. It's a polyhedron, so that means it's three-dimensional, with two parallel and congruent bases, and it's named by its base. So a polyhedron with two parallel and congruent bases, and it is named by the base. Named by the base. So you can see our pictures below. We have a triangular prism. Its base is a triangle. We have a rectangular prism. We have a cube. That's the only one that's not a prism. We have a or prism in the name. We have a pentagonal prism, and we have a hexagonal prism. Okay, so there are three-dimensional shapes. So what I want we're going to do on this next page here is we're just going to practice drawing a three-dimensional shape. We're just going to copy the ones from above. So I'll start you off with our triangular prism. I always like to start with my bases. Now my bases need to be congruent. Okay, so obviously they're not always going to end up with the same. So now we're going to connect those bases. And these first two lines are going to be solid because we actually see them. And this back one I'm actually going to make dotted because it's that hidden line. Now notice all of my vertical lines are parallel to each other. Okay, so I want you to pause the video and practice drawing your rectangular prism, a cube, a pentagonal prism, and a hexagonal prism. Remember that those lines in the back are dotted. So actually, if I take my base here, I could make these a dotted because those are actually hidden also. So pause the video, draw those remaining prisms out, and then come back. Okay, so now we have a bunch of different parts of these prisms that we're going to talk about. A base, it's two congruent and parallel sides. Lateral faces, these are not going to be bases, and so they're anything that's not a base. Or let's say faces that are not bases. Okay, a lateral edge is where the lateral faces connect. So let's look at our picture for those three. A base here, we have a base here and here. These are parallel and congruent sides. So those are our bases. Then let's talk about lateral faces. Lateral face is anything that wasn't a base. So here is our lateral face. Here's a lateral face. Any of these are lateral faces. So anything that's not a base. Then we talk about lateral edges. So here, this is a lateral edge. This is a lateral edge. This is a lateral edge. That's a lateral edge. That's a lateral edge. Those are lateral edges, same as we look in figure A. Then we have a base edge, and that's where a lateral face connects to the base. So where a lateral edge, or a lateral face, sorry about that, a lateral face connects to a base. So in example A, these down here are all base edges. These are all base edges up here. In the oblique, these are base edges. These are base edges. Okay, so where the lateral face connects to the base. Then let's talk about altitude. Altitude is our height. So it's a perpendicular line segment to the opposite base. Okay, so in a right prism, it's just going to be one of our lateral edges. So this here is our altitude. But in our oblique, that's going to be our slanted. So think about your obliques in your abs. Those are on the sides. An oblique one is slanted. The base or the altitude or the height is actually going to occur outside of the shape. And last, we have a cross section. Our cross section is going to be a cutting that's parallel or perpendicular to the base. So a cutting that is parallel or perpendicular to the base. If you have a parallel cross section, your cutting or your cross section is going to be the same shape as the base. So the base shape. And then if you have a perpendicular one, it's going to be a rectangle. So cross section would be if I looked at my figures up here and I cut them this way, that's parallel to my base. So my shape is going to be the same as my base. If I cut one that's perpendicular, that's going to be this way. And then I'm going to have a rectangle. We're going to practice that more in probably a few days when we review for our quiz. Okay, so now let's talk about lateral area of a prism. Well, let's first talk about, well, what is a lateral area? Well, lateral area is the sum of the area of the lateral faces. So if we look here in our prism to the left, we have a triangular prism because the bases are triangles. Now, this is a base and this is a base. So we don't include those and we're just going to add the sides, the area of the sides. Okay, so lateral area is going to be, we're going to represent by LA. And I could go through a proof and explain this, but we're going to just say it's the perimeter times the height. So the perimeter times the height. As example here, our perimeter is all of the base edges added up. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at problem 1. It says, what type of prism is this? Well, we're going to base it off the base. So the base here is triangle, so this is a triangular prism. Okay, how many vertices does it have? That's how many corners does it have. So 1, 2, don't forget that one back there, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 vertices. How many faces does it have? Now here it's not specifying if it's a lateral face, so we're going to count all the faces, including the bases. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this one here, that gives us 5. How many lateral faces does it have? So now we're going to talk about just the sides, not including the bases. Well, if I had 5 total faces, 2 of them were bases, so that means I have 3 lateral faces, or those 3 sides of the triangle. How many edges does it have? Okay, so let's go ahead and find our edges. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 edges. Okay, what is the shape of a cross section that's parallel to the bases? So looking up at your notes that talk about cross sections, parallel ones are the base shape. So if we cut a triangle just like that, we're going to see it has a triangular shape. And last, find the lateral area of the prism. So we need to find the perimeter of the base. Okay, now it's a triangle, but I only have two of the sides. I have 6 and 5, and I need to find that third side. This is a right triangle. Yep, we're going to use Pythagorean theorem. So we need to think 5 squared plus 6 squared equals x squared. 25 plus 36 equals x squared. And we are going to end ourselves with 7.5, or 7.8, sorry. So in 7.8. So I'm going to go ahead and add up all those side lengths. 7.8 plus 6 plus 5. And I'm going to times that by the height. The height is, now don't go based off the height of the shape being whatever it's standing up on. Always go, it's perpendicular to the base. So we've used 7.8, 5, and 6. That's in our perimeter. So that means our 7 is going to be our height. So 7.8 plus 6 plus 5 times by 7, and our lateral area is 131.6 centimeters squared. Okay. Oop. Problem 2. This one is all you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to leave this one up to you. I'm going to quiz you on it on Schoology, and we're going to call it good with that. Then we have to talk about surface area of a prism. Now, surface area is going to be our lateral area. Now, remember, that's all the sides plus 2 base areas. So our surface area is lateral area plus 2 base areas. All right, we know that our lateral area is perimeter times height plus 2 bases. Now we can't be more specific with base because the bases are going to be different. Sometimes they're going to be squares or triangles or rectangles. We know how to do those, or they might be a polygon like pentagon or hexagon. And then we have to think back to section 8.4 on finding area of regular polygons. Okay, so let's find the area of this regular prism. Now here it doesn't denote which one is the base, so because it's rectangular, let's just go ahead and we're all going to agree that this dark shaded side that is facing us is going to be considered the base. So we're thinking surface area is lateral area plus 2 base areas. Lateral area is perimeter times height, so perimeter of the base. Well, this 6 here is also going to be a 6 here. So let's go ahead and add 6 plus 9 plus 6 plus 9. So 12 plus 18, 30 times the height. So then that leaves us with 4 because that's the one we don't use. Then plus 2 base areas. So 6 times 9. Oops, don't forget your 2. 6 times 9 we know is 72. Oh, I should write these in the same order. 2 times 72. And 30 times 4, we get 120. 120, 2 times 72, we get 144. So we end up with, wait, something's wrong here. What did I do wrong? Okay, my mistake. Sorry, 6 times 9 is not 72, it's 54. So then 2 times 54 gives us 108. We add those to get us 228. And don't forget a label of feet squared. All right, let's look at this next one. Find the surface area of the triangular prism. So the triangle is our base. We need to find our slant because we need to use that when we add. So Pythagorean theorem, 12 squared plus 12 squared equals, let's just use x squared 144 plus 144 equals x squared. 288 equals x squared. So that leaves our x to equal, take the square root, we get 17. Because we're going to round up, we had 16.97, the 97 tells us to round it up. So we're just going to call that 17. All right, so let's go ahead. Surface area is lateral area plus 2 base areas. Our lateral area, our perimeter, 12 plus 17 times our height, so that's our 8, plus 2 base areas. Our base is a triangle, so the formula is base times height, divide by 2. The times by 2 and divide by 2 are going to cancel out. When we go ahead and add 12 plus 17 and times it by 8, we get 328 plus 144. So 472 millimeters squared. All right, one last problem here, and I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and do this. It's our rectangular prism. And let's go ahead and use this 6 by 6 as our base. I am going to ask you for this on your Schoology quiz. Don't forget to go back in and take that. We'll see you guys later.